on. I'm muted. I don't even know what I'm doing here. My name is Bryce Koon. Welcome in. SEC releases their 9-game schedule. Will and I are going to talk about it. Quick thoughts, initial thoughts, matchups we're looking forward to. Did the SEC get it right, or did they get it horribly, horribly wrong? That and more. Tonight's episode, a special edition of the Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
Welcome in, welcome in. My name is Bryce Koon. That is Will Manis. We appreciate you listening or watching. Well, I just looked past the camera because I'm used to my camera sitting over here, but my computer wasn't charged and I don't have a special docking system to be able to utilize all of that. And I've got a nice 2020 MacBook Air that is, we'll see. It's not handling iOS 26 very well, which shame on Gavin in the background for utilizing our group chat background because my eyes were bleeding having to be a part of that. Have you updated?
As someone with a 2025 MacBook Air, I highly recommend it.
Is it great? Is it just awesome?
I love it.
It's
I can't believe I went about 4 or 5 years without one.
You had what? We'll name the brand Lenovo. Is that what you had?
I believe so. Sounded like the space shuttle every time we try to do a show.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, talking about space shuttles, we're rocketing into the future. See that right there with a new SEC 9-game schedule.
I'm just rocking in the free world.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were going with that. SEC 9-game schedule is nearly on tap for us. We got the release tonight. We've got a graphic we'll pull up here in just a second where we get kind of our initial thoughts, matchups to watch, and just overall how we think the conference did. Let's start off with how we think this conference did, though. First off, Will, I'll be honest with you, I kind of like it. Obviously I've got a vested interest in what LSU's schedule looks like. I myself was a little disappointed we don't get that Alabama-LSU rivalry, but I was quickly corrected by some LSU fans that were very I'll say they're very adamant that rivalry, it's a big one, but it was really based off the whole Nick Saban thing. Like, that was why that rivalry really picked up in the 2000s. And maybe for us, it's just what we grew up on, right? Like, you just kind of knew for a long time, no disrespect to your Auburn Tigers, that game in November had heavy implications on who represented the SEC West. So
yeah, and I think paired with the fact that LSU doesn't have that natural geographic rival, Alabama's the best and biggest program, either Auburn or Alabama, depending on the year, would be the biggest program that LSU would play on a yearly basis. So just kind of felt like it was Auburn or Alabama be LSU's biggest rival.
I hate LSU doesn't get Florida. That was that cross-divisional rival that's always crazy. Shout out Marco Wilson throwing the shoe back in 2020.
That one doesn't feel right.
That one doesn't feel right. But you know what? We do get games like we were talking about this. We do get games back like the LSU-Auburn game, which growing up in Columbus, that's a game where whether you're an Auburn fan or not, you always had a rooted interest in just from being a fan because it was just always a crazy game. So there you go. Auburn-LSU is back. That's a big one. Any just initial thoughts? We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the matchups, but do you think they did a good job with this, about as best they could?
I do. All the talk was that they would try to do the best that they could of protecting the traditional rivalries and also not loading teams up with an unfair scheduling. I think they did the best they could. I think it's interesting, and it was in the Discord. So, as you know, all kind of just nonsense going on there, but actually good comments and comments that I enjoyed talking about this. And I think I saw it on Twitter too, so maybe not an original thought, but the SEC has recreated the Southwest Conference in the aggregate, as we love Moneyball in the Discord. Your Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Missouri, all those 4 teams are playing each other again on a yearly basis, and Arkansas. Throw them in there. It's like the Southwest Conference. It's back. We figured out a way to make it back. I think TriStar will enjoy that. Our buddy TriStar. But I think the SEC did a good job. A good job here. Some of these make you question these matchups, but I think they did a fine job.
Mm-hmm. Couple rules for you. The format, it's going to be a 9-game schedule starting next year if you don't really know what's going on. You have the 3 annual opponents. Kevin, we can throw up that graphic right there. The 3 annual opponents that you'll be having. Each of the team's remaining 6 games will rotate. And I think that's the big thing in this is these rotate, and it seems pretty balanced. Like, for example, LSU doesn't play Alabama, but they go to Tennessee, they go to Georgia, and they host A&M. And so it's like, okay, they still have a tough schedule in terms of that. Traditional rivalries were maintained. They also wanted to renew some of those.
They also go to Auburn.
They also go to Auburn. Big thing here and I can't remember, it's 2027. You're going to have rotational frequency. And I was just on a show before we hopped about this, and that was one thing we talked about is the 2 big, and maybe you know one specifically, Will, with Auburn. The 2 big caveats in all of this is Georgia has not been to College Station since A&M joined. Massive issue from the SEC. And then for the LSU side of things, LSU hasn't been to Athens since that shootout back in 2013 between Mettenberger and Murray. So we're getting some of these games that, hey, that was a fun game, shouldn't be happening 12 years later in terms of being played there. So Auburn, it's the annual opponents, but I like that.
Auburn has played Florida twice since 2010.
Wow.
Once in Auburn,
really?
Once in Gainesville. Yep, it was a 7-year gap. 2011. Is that right?
Was that the West Byram game, or was that before?
That was before. That was mid 2000. So it was 2011. It was Will Muschamp at Florida, and then not again until 2019 when it was Gus Malzahn against Dan Mullen in the Swamp.
Wow. All right, here's the annual opponent. That's crazy to think about.
Just to kind of put it in perspective and also date ourselves, I can only think off the top of my head twice of Auburn going to the Swamp twice, 2019 and 2007. The West Byram game in 2019. The early 2000s, a little bit before my time. I will say 2001, when Auburn took down the number 1 Gators with Steve Spurrier as their head coach in the rain with a last-second field goal. That was in Auburn. I was at that game.
Wow.
Actually, I think I was 3. I hadn't turned 4 yet.
Man, if you'd have told me that, I mean, I remember the 2019 game, Bo Nix's freshman year. I remember that game, but good grief, that 2011 being the next one, not far back. We're getting old. There's no doubt about it. The rotating opponents, we talked about this. The schedule is designed to provide, this is from the SEC, each school play every other SEC opponent at least once every 2 years, and then each school play every other SEC opponent at least twice, home and away, over a 4-year period. So how it's going to work out is 2026 and 2028 are paired together, 2027 and 2029 are paired together. This came out yesterday, so it's not necessarily breaking news, but the annual opponents we've got on the schedule, I'll just go ahead and tell you, look, there's some of these matchups. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with the craziest. What is one on here that you're like, why the heck is this needing to be protected, or why was this decided? I've got one glaring one for me.
We probably have the same one. I think it's Auburn and Vanderbilt.
That wasn't mine, but I did ask you, what is the obsession with this game?
Yeah, I think it's for me a big shoulder shrug. The only thing I do know that I can say about it, which it has nothing to do with football, and I don't think it played any decision in the SEC choosing this. I think Vanderbilt is one of the largest cities of Auburn alumni in the Southeast. So it'll be a good travel day for Auburn and Auburn fans in the Nashville area to get there close. I mean, Nashville and Atlanta, 2 big hubs for Auburn alumni. But that has nothing to do with football and probably had 0 to do with the SEC picking Vanderbilt. So I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that we decided to, as the SEC, to really hone in on that Auburn-Vandy rivalry. I mean, maybe Diego Pavia will still be playing. So there's that. The one that I scratch my head at, and I get it because the reason it happened is because you had to go find some other opponents. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, I have such great memories of that game. I can't tell you one. That's just being facetious, by the way. I think that was put in there because you had to have some other teams kind of fall where they may.
Yeah. I mean, why not Ole Miss and Vanderbilt?
Isn't that a rivalry game?
Yeah, they were permanent cross division opponents in the old 12 team SEC. Back in the olden days of Eastern and Western divisions.
I remember playing East NCAA 14 and that being like a rivalry game that you played no matter what every single year.
That would make more sense than Ole Miss and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. There's no Jeff Levy connection there anymore. He's at Mississippi State.
Yeah. Dr. Bob, Ole Miss and Vanderbilt is a long running rivalry game. I felt like it was. So yeah, Vandy, Tennessee. I guess in that, I will say this. For the people who want, I don't know what you would complain about in this, other than if you're just a fan that says, hey, like a Georgia fan. Dang, man, I love to see Georgia, Tennessee. Every single year.
Georgia looks like they got the easiest draw of anybody. Auburn,
Georgia,
Florida, and South Carolina. I mean, based off current standings, that's a pretty easy draw. Either them or Tennessee. Nick Sabanless Alabama, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt.
Another one on here that's interesting to me is Oklahoma. I love that we brought back the Big 12, Oklahoma, Missouri. And maybe, we're just old and we remember the games with Chase Daniel and all those guys and, how much fun that was in the old Big 12. Ole Miss, Oklahoma feels weird. Obviously, you're going to get the Oklahoma, Texas. Oklahoma's weird because you don't have a true rival outside of Texas in this. So I like that they paired them with Missouri for the Big 12 factor.
For Texas A&M. But then again, if you give Texas A&M Oklahoma, you don't have LSU Texas A&M, or
you'd have to have Oklahoma, Texas, LSU if you're A&M. If you replace that with Missouri, which would be brutal. Joe Pine says, I'm shocked Georgia got South Carolina. TBH, I thought they would get Kentucky. Well, Joe, you know me. I mean, right here, former Georgia fan myself. I can remember Steve Spurrier just beating the dog out of Georgia year after year. So I hated South Carolina.
Hey, that's one of his best quotes. He said, I always loved playing Georgia early in the year. There's a good chance they got about 6 or 7 guys suspended.
Maybe that's why. Maybe Tech needs to move the game up. Maybe they need to should that be week 0?
Why not? I mean, we've seen it with the former Pac-12 members. It was last week.
Apple Cup
and Civil War was last week.
Shoot, Iowa State, Iowa. They're in separate conferences. They play earlier. Well, I shouldn't have said that name. I apologize. I don't recognize them. Shout out Kirk Ferentz. Did not, in fact, retire before the season started. So there's that. Dr. Bob says one of the worst losses is the Alabama-LSU game. I get it. The Mississippi State and Alabama are the 2 closest campuses in the conference. But I get it. Yeah, they talked about this. That geography would have a lot to do with it. I don't think geography matters in this conference. Everybody's got money. They can do and go wherever they need to go.
Everybody flies everywhere.
Yeah.
If you want to get rid of flying, let's move Auburn and Georgia back down the road to Memorial Stadium.
You'll have to have some flyovers, some helicopters, some GBI officers in that area. So, oh, yeah, I'm thinking of different Call of Duty references I can call in now.
Moving on.
I will say from an LSU perspective, you don't get Alabama. Look, LSU, Arkansas, and I was texting with y'all. When the conference expanded, nobody really knew what to do with Texas A&M because they didn't have a rivalry. So they really forced, and this is how LSU fans feel, they kind of forced this LSU A&M rivalry, right? Remember we had, the 7 overtime game? Like, you've had some crazy games, but it was just kind of weird. A lot of the older LSU fans are like, hey, I'm cool with this. Let's make LSU Arkansas that, Friday after Thanksgiving game or Thanksgiving night game. Like, let's get back to what that is. The Battle of the Boot, it's a trophy game. Arkansas is in a weird spot right now with what they've got going on, but, the 2 rivalry games I'm glad they kept is Ole Miss. I wanted that one, Magnolia Bowl. We've got that one, this weekend. I would have just loved to see. I know it doesn't go together, man, but I would have loved to see. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Will. I would have liked to see Florida trade South Carolina with A&M, and yes, have A&M South Carolina, and give me LSU Florida. Which A&M South Carolina's had some interesting battles.
Yeah, that's. Again, back to the olden times, back in the Stone Age, Eastern and Western divisions. That was Texas A&M's Well, no, it wasn't because it was Missouri. Because for some reason we thought
The
Missouri
Columbians.
should have been in the Eastern Division.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
Missouri was in the East.
it seems like that was a frequent crossover.
Yeah. I'm looking at this more. I mean, Texas and Arkansas. Texas is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with any of those games. You keep the two big rivalries. Texas,
Southwest
Arkansas
Conference.
is right there. I mean,
look at Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina. I mean, and Kentucky. I mean, that's just the SEC East. And Tennessee.
you're not wrong about that.
I know Tennessee has Alabama, but they played them every year. That's just the SEC East.
I wanted to pull this up, and Gavin, we're going to pull this up real quick because it's not going to require you to pull up a graphic, but it's a great thing where we can kind of finish the show out talking about some of the matchups. Florida needs a realignment. Oh God! Yeah.
And then it says their schedule has just been brutal of late. Spot the ball. Spot the ball.
Will, what are some matchups when I don't know how much you've looked at this 2026, 2020? Let's just do it like this. What's a matchup next year you're excited about?
Oh, I haven't dug into these a whole lot
try
yet.
to pull them up.
We talking about annual opponent or just
no, non-annual? We'll get away from the annual opponents here. We'll go back into this.
I don't know. The only one I've really looked at is Auburn, and I mean, actually, hold on. Auburn's schedule next year is great. It's great. Here, I'll throw Auburn's graphic in here. I love it personally. Okay, last time I shared my Twitter screen, it was nearly a debacle. So make sure we get this right. If you can read it, I know it is small. Look at Auburn's home games: Arkansas, Florida, LSU. Road games: Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Tennessee. I love it. I love Auburn's opponents for 2026. It's old school teams Auburn hadn't matched up with in a while, or at least in a couple of years. So I love it. Not competitiveness or what have you aside. I just love who Auburn's matched, who's going to be on Auburn's schedule. I've missed the LSU game probably more than any other one. And also Tennessee. That is an old school SEC rivalry, 1980s, 1990s rivalry that has just disappeared. So I love it, as well as Florida, but I think more so Tennessee.
I'm about to try something, and it's going to be an absolute epic fail here.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be bad, so just hold your ears. We're going to mute that. We're going to. So.
Yes, Joe. Auburn Tech does need to get.
Oh, don't take me out. I don't want two cameras.
I just muted you because I was just. What are we doing right now?
Ears are bleeding.
What is happening?
No, I wanted to do this, so it's easier for me to do it like this. Can I not share?
Oh, here we go. I got it. It's up there.
Oh, here we go. God, I just about killed everybody trying to do this. All right, so we'll take that quick thing off. That was absolutely terrible. So when I look at this, the 2020, this is 2025.
Yep.
By the way. Dude, I don't know.
Did the SEC post a graphic, just a singular graphic? I know they did.
There's
they
a
did one for
that I can't pull up because I'm pants on head.
Oh, there we go.
That's go to secsports.com.
Trademarked by Will Mannis, by the way. You cannot use that saying. Here it is.
I'll say there's 26 games I'm excited about.
Hold on, I got it. I got it. Hold on. Go ahead, but I've got the graphic.
So 2026 games I'm excited about. I mentioned this. I'm pumped to see.
You can't even read it.
We let the least tech savvy guys zoom in on this, please.
I can't.
Open it into hit. We're literally giving instructions on how to do things right here live on the show. Hit open image, a new tab. Right click on it. Do you know how to right click on things?
I did it.
Is it in a new tab?
It is.
All right, share that screen. You can zoom in on that. Just crazy stuff. From an LSU perspective, man, I'm LSU Texas in Baton Rouge. That's a matchup that needed to happen. There we go. You should be able to zoom in on this one, Will. LSU Texas A&M. Oh, Will just sounds like he smoked a pack of Pall Malls before he came on the show tonight. No, LSU is going to host Texas. I love that because that's a matchup that got canceled out of conference. Remember, 2019 was a crazy game that kind of catapulted LSU to their national title run. The game gets canceled in 2020 because of COVID of an SEC-only schedule. And so 2026, I love that. You're playing that game. A couple of more. We get to see Ole Miss, Florida. You know, that was a battle kind of that we usually get to see kind of often. But just in general, man, I like what the SEC's done. We're just we're hurting ourselves trying to get this schedule out here.
This is why we pay Gavin the big bucks. I should not be in charge of any technical anything.
Any technical things.
What is that? Oh, yep. See, there you go.
Don't do that. That's too much, Gavin. We're almost done here. Anyways, matchups there. I mentioned LSU is going to go to Athens. I'm excited about that in 2027. To me, there's just some really good schedules, and I like the balance of it. I like the rotation aspect that you're going to be able to see opponents more often. You know, someone mentioned here, Joe said, every player, if they stay at a team for 3 years, they'll get to play in every stadium once. That's awesome. I love that. They'll get to experience that. So,
thinking players will stay somewhere for 3 years.
It might be, dude, Joe. You're going to have to fly into Baton Rouge and pick me up if that's the case. Yeah, man, I'm excited to get some of these matchups we hadn't seen in a while. So overall, I think the SEC, we'll cap it off here because there's too much technical. If you're listening to this, you're probably in an absolute just spin cycle trying to figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah, you'll have to watch.
You'll have to come over to YouTube. But just in general with the schedule, I like what they did. I think it's the best you could do considering the situation. We'll give some thoughts on the ACC moving to a 9-game schedule.
Hold on now. Wait. Considering the situation, they brought this on themselves.
Oh yeah, considering what they did with themselves, I feel like they got out
with 12 with this. And then the overlords decided, no, we need more.
That's what they said. That is what they said. But hey, Napoleon Dynamite thoughts, great movie.
I could quote you the whole movie.
Will should just start a Twitch stream.
I almost said something. Something I said in the pre-show that I will not repeat. Something to do with a certain headache medicine.
Oh, okay. Well, we appreciate you for watching. Gavin, I'm going to hit the button. We're going to get out of here. SEC, we like what they did. We're excited about some of the matchups, and it's going to be fun to kind of watch these unfold on the field over the years to come. We'll catch you next time. Will Menace, Bryce Koon, Gavin in the background, right here on the Crowded Booth. We'll see you tomorrow night, previewing a massive, massive week of college football. We'll see you then.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.